Creating an atmosphere of suspense and mystery is quite a huge feat for any filmmaker, and it is always rewarding when one manages to keep the audience on the edge of their seats until the end of a film. However, this might backfire on the viewers in some cases if the creators decide to end the movie on a cliffhanger and leave things open for interpretation. While this is a classic technique that has resulted in the success of many films, it does leave fans in wonder as they come to terms with the fact that these cliffhangers might never be explained. From the suspense stirred during Randy's final match in The Wrestler to Jack Burton's departure in Big Trouble in Little China, cinema history is filled to the brim with such cliffhangers or open-ended climaxes. But don't worry, we won't leave you hanging any longer. And without further ado, let us explore our curation of the top 12 unresolved movie cliffhangers that may never be explained. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Inception, 2010. Known as one of Christopher Nolan's best works, Inception blurs the line between dreams and reality as the plot thickens and delves deeper into the subconscious. The movie had a stellar cast, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Ken Watanabe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Cillian Murphy, Tom Hardy, and Elliot Page, among others, and it was a true sci-fi film that follows these high-tech bandits. The plot revolves around them as they find a machine that allows them to navigate their victims' dreams and peek into their minds. They could also plant ideas or extract information from their victims, and the movie takes a turn when they are offered a high-profile job that would allow them to retire. However, stakes seem to be at an all-time high as this job compels their leader, Dom Cobb, to face demons from his past. As the film nears its finale, things start crumbling in their dream landscape after they plant the idea in Fisher's mind and call it a day. Cobb finally finds himself a free man, and he immediately rushes to his daughters and kisses them in a sweet reunion. However, the camera closes in and we see Cobb spinning the totem that allows him to enter people's dreams just as the credits start rolling. This raises many questions about whether or not he was reunited with his family, but Christopher Nolan makes the artistic decision to end the film at this point and refuses to confirm any theories. He maintains that the point of the ending is to show that Cobb has stopped caring about this and that he does not even check to see if his totem is spinning or falling as the credits roll. 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. Directed by Stanley Kubrick, 2001. A Space Odyssey is one of the best-made films of all time. It received raving reviews for its scientific accuracy and soundtrack, and it is based on a mysterious monolith found on Earth's moon after being left there by an extraterrestrial intelligence. After they receive a transmission from outer space, a crew of astronauts embarks on a journey to a Jovian world in a spaceship called Discovery, in the hopes that they will find something. However, things soon go downhill, especially after they lose most of their crew members and struggle to control their supercomputer, HAL 9000. The movie is set in an environment where artificial intelligence has started rebelling against humans, but it ends with Dr. Bowman finally defeating HAL 9000 and avenging his partner's death. He then leaves the ship in a pod to investigate a monolith, but the journey requires him to pass through something similar to a black hole. As the movie comes to an end, Bowman finds himself staring at several versions of himself and sees his own death when another monolith appears before him. He reaches out to touch it and is then reborn into a star baby that floats as a fetus over Earth's surface. While this was not a cliffhanger ending in the truest sense, it raised many questions regarding the ending and left the viewers confused. Kubrick commented on the film's ending and confirmed that the film has a religious perspective as Bowman supposedly searches for God and finds himself in a neoclassical bedroom created by godlike aliens before being reborn. The Wrestler, 2008. Portrayed by Mickey Rourke, Randy Robinson is the titular wrestler in this 2008 release that won many accolades for its storytelling. It follows Randy, or The Ram, a professional wrestler who found himself past his prime after having gained a lot of recognition in the 1980s. While he was super successful in the past, he hadn't had any chance to make a comeback in the past few decades, but he refused to lose hope even if his body had deteriorated. Randy's soon embarks on a journey to fulfill his dreams, find love again, and reconnect with his daughter. But his journey brings him to a crossroads where he might have to give up on his dreams after all. The Wrestler is a story of self-harm, pride, and redemption as Randy struggles to find a new identity after being a professional wrestler for most of his life. As the movie nears its end, Randy struggles and stumbles against his opponent, but he refuses to give up and surrender. He decides to do his signature Ram Jam move, even if it is quite dangerous, and the movie ends when he begins to perform it. Darren Aronofsky ended the film right between Randy's leap of faith without telling the viewers whether he survived the fall or died in the process. The ambiguous cliffhanger ending only adds to the charm of the film, as Randy's decision to do something he loves dearly, even if it might have dire consequences, is quite powerful and poetic at the same time. Big Trouble in Little China, 1986. Created by John Carpenter, Big Trouble in Little China is a comedy action film that serves as an adventure of a lifetime. It follows Jack Burton as he helps his friend Wang Chi rescue his girlfriend, Miao Yin, from a Chinese-American street gang. Their attempts to rescue her lead them to Chinatown, where they face all sorts of obstacles and learn that the gang actually works for a wizard named Lo Pan. Lo Pan was trying to break an ancient spell by sacrificing a woman with green eyes, and Burton enlists the help of Gracie, Margot, Eddie Lee, and Egg Shen to defeat Lo Pan and rescue Miao Yin. Their adventures also result in them crossing paths with an orangutan-like creature called Wild Man, who ends up capturing Gracie as well. Eventually, they all escape Chinatown and succeed in their mission, and it seems like all their troubles have been resolved. However, the movie ends in an eerie tone as Jack leaves on his own and rides the Pork Chop Express. While things seem fine at first glance, we soon see the Wild Man growling and regaining his posture in the back of the truck, and he seems to be making a beeline for Jack. Unfortunately, the movie ends on this cliffhanger, and all we know is that Jack's adventures with the supernatural world are far from over, with Wild Man so close on his tail. The Italian Job, 1969. Any list of cliffhangers would be incomplete without The Italian Job, a 1969 British comedy film that caused quite a stir with its ending. The film follows the life of Charlie Crocker, the leader of a criminal gang, as he is finally released from prison. Now that he is back in society, he finds himself looped in to do a big job in Italy and steal gold bullion from a high-security armoured truck. While Crocker's crew faces some troubles in the form of the mafia and the local authorities, the heist and the chase are pretty exciting as they almost succeed in the mission. However, they find themselves on the edge of a cliff, quite literally and figuratively, as the film ends. In this cliffhanger, the crew's gold-filled bus hangs precariously over a cliff and creates an atmosphere of tension as the viewers hold their breaths for them to make a safe turn. The crew scrambles to secure the gold in a last-ditch attempt when Crocker tells them he has a great idea. However, the movie ends on this note, leaving the audience's questions about whether or not the bus falls off the cliff unanswered. As the camera pans out, we only see the bus over the cliff before the credits start rolling, and this cliffhanger scene drew so much attention that it inspired several remakes, an episode of The Simpsons, and a charity event. Dawn of the Dead, 2004. Inspired by George Romero's classic zombie film from the 1970s, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead is a 2004 horror remake that follows the lives of a bunch of human survivors. While living in a shopping mall, these humans overcome hurdles and avoid any zombies that have now surrounded the place. Soon enough, they escape the mall and end up on a dead rich guy's boat that takes them far away from the zombie apocalypse. While this suggests that the film had a happy ending, the end credits have a different story for those waiting for it. As soon as the crew reaches an island and disembarks the boat, they discover that they are almost out of gas and supplies and have no option but to explore the place. Unfortunately for them, they are swarmed by zombies in huge numbers as soon as they get off the boat, and the film finally ends on this cliffhanger. While we don't know what goes down after this, they seem stranded in the middle of nowhere with no way out, and we can guess that they might not be able to make it out alive this time. The Mummy, 2017. Directed by Alex Kurtzman, The Mummy is the first installment in the Dark Universe series, and it follows Nick Morton and Chris Vale as they try to look for treasure in the city of Iraq. As they explore the city, they stumble upon the tomb of Princess Amenet, who was entombed alive for trying to summon the Egyptian god of death. As the film progresses, Nick and Chris work alongside archaeologist Jennifer Halsey to transport the tomb to London, but tragedy strikes as Amanet's spirit returns to life during their travel. She causes the plane to crash, and Nick somehow survives the crash, while Chris returns as a zombie-like creature. Soon enough, Amanet's spirit unleashes chaos all over London, while our protagonists scramble to bring her under control with some help from the Prodigium. Moreover, Nick ends up inheriting the curse of Set and essentially becomes a demon in the body of a mortal. While they manage to capture Amanet, the movie ends ambiguously as Nick deals with his newfound godly powers. He soon travels to the pyramids of Giza in search of an answer, but his journey is tainted with all forms of supernatural confrontations and dark forces. While this isn't a cliffhanger in the truest sense, Nick's fate was left ambiguous as the creators hope to expand on the dark universe by picking up right where this movie left off. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2014. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has quite a reputation for inventing the concept of post-credit scenes that often leave the audience wonderstruck. Among their other releases, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 raised many doubts among fans, and it was the second installment of this series. The film stars Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, and it follows Spider-Man as he faces a new opponent in the form of Electro. While facing Electro, Spider-Man also realizes that his old friend, Harry Osborn, has made a comeback, and things take a turn as he realizes that all his enemies share some connection to Oscorp. The movie ends with Peter Parker dealing with Gwen's death while facing a new opponent in the form of Rhino. This scene was supposed to set the tone for the next film, which would feature the Sinister Six, but these plans never materialized. There are cliffhangers throughout the film, and fans are left wondering several things, ranging from how Peter Parker's father built a secret lab to the origins of the shadowy guy who visits Osborn and expresses his desire to create a Sinister Six. There was also a deleted scene where Peter Parker's father is revealed to be alive, which would have changed the course of the entire series if the scene had made the final cut. Moreover, his dad's presence would have helped Peter deal with Gwen's death on a better note instead of leaving things, and it is unfortunate that this series was wrapped up on such a rushed note with so many unanswered questions. Planet of the Apes, 2001. In 2001, Tim Burton created his version of Planet of the Apes, which was a blend of the original movie and novel. The story was set in 2029, when Captain Leo Davidson trained primates such as chimpanzees and orangutans at the Oberon space station. Davidson especially forms a close bond with a chimpanzee named Pericles, who ends up getting lost in a storm, prompting Davidson to search for him in a spacecraft. In a strange turn of events, the spacecraft lands on a planet in the year 5021, where humans are considered inferior beings ruled by intelligent apes. As the film progresses, Davidson is captured by the apes under the order of the leader, General Thade, and he then tries to stir an uprising against the ape rulers and free himself. The film culminates in a face-off between humans and apes, and Davidson eventually uses Pericles' space pod to return to his own time. The twist happens at this point when Davidson gets into a pod and passes through the wormhole in the hopes that he will be back where it all started. However, he crashes onto Earth and looks around to see that he is in a completely different reality, where the Lincoln Memorial has been replaced by a statue of General Spade. This movie ends on a cliffhanger as Davidson finds himself on a planet ruled by apes once again, and these events are so drastically different from the original film that it leaves the viewers quite confused. The Raid 2, 2014. Created by Gareth Evans, The Raid 2 was a direct sequel to The Raid, Redemption, and it followed the life of police officer Rama, who was invited to join an anti-corruption task force. This team was created to expose Police Commissioner Reza's secret deals with the Bangun and Goto gangs, and he hesitantly agreed to join in. Rama soon comes up with a plan to attack a politician's son and get thrown into jail with Bangun's son, Uko. As he successfully becomes close to Uko and even saves his life in a prison riot, Bangun offers him a position in his organisation after his prison sentence. However, Uko starts getting restless while working for his father, and he soon stirs up a lot of trouble and even kills the police commissioner. In a striking finale, Rama kills Uko and meets up with the opposition Goto gang's leader's son, Keiichi, who offers him a deal and tries to recruit him. At the same time, Bunawar from the task force almost reaches their spot, and the film ends on an ambiguous note as Rama declares that he is done. While Rama's fate is left open to interpretation, the Raid 2 leaves the viewers hanging by a thread as they try to figure out whether he joins Goto's gang, faces Bunawar, or retires from the crime scene. The movie ends with a whole lot of tension among the gangs and the police force, and it seems like Rama might end up being a part of a much greater conspiracy, even if he claims to be done. Eragon 2006. Directed by Stefan Fangmeier, Eragon was a 2006 fantasy adventure movie that starred Ed Spielers as Eragon, a farm boy who stumbles upon a magical dragon egg. As the egg hatches into a dragon named Saphira, Eragon realizes that he has gained some magical powers and that he can telepathically speak to the dragon. While they end up in trouble as Durza's monstrous forces look for Saphira to kill her, an old storyteller named Brom advises Eragon and trains him in sword fighting. As the two embark on an adventure, Eragon eventually faces Durza and duels with him in the sky before finally killing him. While Eragon and Saphira breathe a sigh of relief after dodging this bullet, one of Durza's accomplices, Galbatorix, refuses to let things go and prepares for their next face-off. As the movie ends, we see Galbatorix slashing at a map of Alagacia, and in a more shocking twist of events, he reveals his pitch-black dragon, Shuriken. This ending makes it clear that Eragon's adventures are far from over, and he must work harder with Saphira to confront Galbatorix and Shuriken. Super Mario Bros. 1993. Based on Nintendo's Super Mario video game, this 1993 adventure film follows the brother duo Mario and Luigi Mario. The plot revolves around their attempts to rescue Princess Daisy, who has been taken away to a dystopian parallel universe called Dino Hatton. As Luigi, Mario and Mario join hands to rescue Daisy, they also realize they must face the universe's ruthless ruler, President Koopa. While they succeed in defeating Koopa, Daisy decides to stay back in Dino Hatton after helping the brothers return to Brooklyn through a portal. While this seems like a sweet ending, the brothers only have a little time to enjoy their newfound hero status as Daisy shows up at their apartment and asks for their help on a new mission. The cliffhanger ending gave the viewers some hope for a sequel where the Super Mario Brothers return in all glory, but unfortunately, the sequel never materialized. Marvelous verdict. With that, we conclude our curation of some of the best cliffhanger moments in cinema's history. While it is unfortunate that these cliffhangers might never be explained, it is also a treat for viewers to be able to come up with their own theories and beliefs about the film's ending. From Inception to Planet of the Apes, we tried to present some of our favourite cliffhanger endings, and we would now love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.